So what we're going to do in this next example is add a new build mode, and the goal of the build mode is to build upon our previous example where we established a backup user for a node, and when we view a list of nodes, we'll view it in a particular way so that we can see which nodes we are currently the backup user for. Okay, so go ahead and jump to your module folder, and we're going to open up step 6, which is called adding a view mode. Go ahead and copy the entire code and paste it over your stuff.module file and save it. Adding and then using a view mode takes 3 steps. First, we need to run node load and pass it the view mode that we want to use. Next, we need to define that view mode in a hook entity info alter function. And third, we need to respond to that view mode in our node view, our hook node view function, and act on it differently because it's a different view mode. Okay, so go ahead and scroll up to the top. And in our stuff examples page function, which again is our page that holds our examples for this video series, we are establishing a new build array. So we're just clearing out our previous examples here. And then we're loading multiple nodes, just like we did in some of our first examples. Again, you can replace out these node IDs if these node IDs don't exist on your site. And then when we run node view multiple, we're passing a new view mode as the second parameter. So our first parameter are the nodes themselves, and our second is the view mode. And we're passing it a view mode of stuff backup owner. Okay, now let's scroll down to the very bottom of the page where you've added some code here. And this is an implementation of hook entity info alter. This is a pretty broad hook that we can use for a variety of different things, but we're doing something very specific here, which is adding our new view mode. And we do that by accessing the node view modes property of entity info, and then we're adding a new one called stuff backup owner. And we're assigning this an array with 2 properties. The first is the label, which we're calling special formatting for backup user, and then custom settings, which we're setting to true. Now this allows other modules to then learn about our view mode and use it to respond to it in their own particular ways. Now the third part of a view mode is responding to it in our node view function, our hook node view function. So I'm going to scroll up to hook node view here, and we have some new code that we've added. And what we're going to do is add a yellow bar to the top of nodes that have been assigned to us as the backup user. So our first step is to check for the view mode. We're checking for stuff backup owner. And then we're going to globalize the user because that's the current user using the site, and we need to access the name property of that user and make sure that it's the same as the stuff backup user property of the node. And if so, then we're going to add some new content. We're adding it to the node content array, and this is the render array for the node. We're giving it a key of stuff backup message and a type of markup, which says this is going to be some HTML. The markup property allows us to add that HTML, and we're just creating a div with a background style of yellow, and then we're just giving it some text. You are the backup user for this node. And then we're giving it a weight of -10 so that it displays at the very top of the node. Okay, let's go ahead and save this, and then jump back to our browser. And we're going to clear our cache to make sure that everything's all squared away here. And now we see our new view mode displaying. Now it's not terribly useful, but we can extend our response to the view mode in our hook node view to add additional content that might be more useful in this context. But you see, here's our yellow bar right here that says you're the backup user for this node, and then the other ones don't display that. In a previous example, we looked at how to load multiple nodes and then act on those nodes to change the data of them. Particularly, we changed the title of several nodes and then save that new title to the node table.